So guys, I want to do a creepy video today, which is about my house. My house is haunted. I grew up in this house and I could tell you so many stories. Um, the first story I want to talk about, which my mom tells me when she was working at the Dodger Stadium. She was coming home one night and she heard footsteps following her, and every time she would look back, there was nobody, but she heard heavy boots, steps from where there's a liquor by my house, which is like just like 2 minutes away. She ran from the liquor store all the way to the house, and she could hear the footsteps get louder and louder and louder following her. As she got to the house, she started knocking at the door. Let me in. Somebody is following me. And at the time she was pregnant of me, I believe. That's what she told me. And the only one that was here was my aunt, and she was watching TV, and she's like, "What's going on? Why you screaming, Frank? Why are you screaming?" She's like, "Oh, it's because I heard footsteps behind me." And she looked and there was nobody there. And so that's one of the stories I want to talk about. The second story is one day, this is up from my mom's stories. One day when I was born, after my grandpa passed away, she was talking to my grandma about my grandpa that about his life. And it was Christmas time, and they got me a car that makes noise when you move it. But I was asleep. There was nobody around. It was just me, my mom and my grandma talking. And all of a sudden, the toy car turns on and starts making noise and moves slowly across the tree. They just said, it's probably, um, your dad. That's what my grandma said. It's probably your dad saying goodbye. And so ever since that, there's been little incidents like that. There's a shadow figure that I see when I'm alone, home alone, in the dark, watching TV, when I have all the lights off, which the shadow goes from my for where we have the laundry room all the way to the end of the kitchen. And it happens frequently since I was probably like 10. Me and my mom see it all the time. It never passes the kitchen. It never goes to the living room or to the dining room. And we don't know why, but he always ends up at that point. Another story that I want to talk personally, which happened to me, is one night I was staying up. It was late at night, and I was laying down on the couch, which is this couch, and I felt somebody sit next to me, and I felt the imprint. I saw the imprint of somebody sitting next to me, and I froze. I could not move. I couldn't scream. I couldn't make noise, but I felt the imprint. I felt the person, whoever it was, sit down, and I was like, "What's going on?" I'm like trying to like scream for my mom to come, and then when I looked, there was nobody there, but you could see the imprint of somebody that was sitting there. I was thinking that it's my grandma's brother. He did pass away in this house as well. There was a lot of people that died in this house. This was a clinic back in the day, and before that, it was a farm. And there we do have a picture of a little girl. And I think since I took out the picture of the little girl from the garage, more things have been happening. Each day it's something intense, or it could be something subtle, like you could be like, "Oh, it's just a ghost." But sometimes it gets to the point that it's extreme, where everybody's asleep in the house, there's nobody awake, and all of a sudden you hear chairs moving, or you hear somebody put a glass on the table. And every time I would go check, there's nobody around. My parents are asleep, my sister's asleep, my brother's asleep, my grandma's asleep. There should be nobody awake around this time. And it always happens around 2, 3 in the morning, which is the witch hour, which I understand that always happens. But sometimes it could be in the daytime. Like you could hear, like right now, I could be in my room, and I could still hear it. Or I'm sitting right now in the living room, and I can feel a cold breeze coming in, and all my windows are closed. All my windows are closed. There should be no source of cold air coming in, and each day it could be something different. Um, one of my nightmares did came true, which was one night me and my brother were asleep in the room. We were like 10 or 11 years old, and we were laying down, and all of a sudden we heard footsteps outside, and we're like, what's going on? Why is there footsteps outside? We look outside, there's nobody. The tenants that we do have in the back, they're sound asleep, the lights are off, so there should be nobody awake at that time. And we thought it was our neighbors, but the neighbors were out of town during that time. So we're like, what's going on? So we called the police, and when the police came, there was nobody there. Nobody. Another instance is we always hear if somebody is like moving our trash cans around and hitting the fence all the time. And it's always like 2 in the morning. There should be nobody awake during that time, which freaks me out all the time. And you can't do nothing about it. Like every time we go check to see if somebody's there and we call the police, they always say, well, there's nobody around. We checked the whole block. There was nobody. And little things like that have happened in this house. One of the craziest stories I have was when I had an uncle stay over, my mom's cousin. He was staying over for a week, and I was on the other side of the room, and he was right here in this couch, and our TV turns on by itself, and we don't have a timer. We don't have a timer for the TV. So he's like, "Why did you turn on the TV while I'm sleeping?" And I'm like, and I was like, that wasn't me. That was it's probably my grandpa telling you to get out, because he was overstaying his stay. He only told us he was gonna stay for 2 days, but he ended up staying for a week. And as we were talking about this, the TV turned off. He's like, "You're playing games with me." I'm like, "You have the remote. I don't have the remote." He looks to the side and he sees the remote, and he's like, "So do you have a timer on the TV?" I'm like, "No, we don't have a timer. It doesn't turn on by itself." So he got so scared, he left the house. And it took him like hours to come back. So there you have it. That is my ghost story from my house. If you want more stories like this from my house, make sure you like and comment below. I don't know why I'm still here. Things has calmed down a little bit recently. I don't know why, but it's always gone for some reason. But if there's more things that has happened, I'm gonna put little updates on videos like this. So if you want more videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Here's my social media at the end of the video, and make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you guys. Bye.